Ah yes, Nightingale, my love. The unit is the definition of I'm a healer, but got a Christmas version. Perfect subject for my first video. Why did I say it like that? My first video. So without delaying this further, let's go into her. As you can see by her stats, she's got low HP with high attack because once again I'm a healer, but her NP gain is fine on her hard cards, but only passable on her quick cards. So she definitely isn't gonna be second coming of Okita, who pretty much always just goes uh, fucking Buster quick or Art quick, and she just shits out stars, gets ton of NP gain and shit. No, Nightingale doesn't do that, sadly. Of her skills, first is Assault Medicine C+. Fun fact, it's actually an NP. It removes one debuff from the team, one buff from enemies, and heals the team for 3k HP. And that's on a 5-turn cooldown. Honestly, a great skill for a first one that provides decent additional survival to whole team and even has a bit of utility. Though it does have a downside of only removing one buff slash debuff, but still a great first skill. Her second skill is Nurse of Steel, Holy Knight, A, which provides one-time guts with 1k HP on revive, 30% NP damage up, and 100% buff removal resistance, all lasting 3 turns on a 7-turn cooldown. Another pretty good skill, with only downside being somewhat long cooldown, but it's reasonable with how many effects it provides. And for final skill, we have the Angel that rings the bell on Holy Knight EX, which is 20% charisma with additional 30% crit up for the whole team. A fantastic skill, with one downside. Its cooldown is 6 turns and not 5. Unlike on her second skill, the effect wasn't really strong enough to warrant that big of cooldown, which is why it's second part of her kit that pisses me off the most, since it means we were just one step away from perfection. Okay, now on to her passive skills. She's got Magic Resistance C. Who cares about that? Independent Action A+, 11% crit up, that's pretty nice. And Madness Enhancement EX. Wow, that's a fun joke, you give her that, but she only has one Buster card. To be fair, that one Buster card does hit hard if it crits, but it's only one, so... Overall, okay, better than some units' passive skills, but not on level of some others where they are actually very powerful. Looking at this, I wish they had made her Madness Enhancement EX some unique skill that also grants her 12% quick up, but what we got is acceptable. And now we finally got the NP. Oh, yeah, her unique append skill is extra damage to Avengers, which is useful if you're like me and will try to clear everything with her, though still probably her least useful append skill. Then again, there is also a question of how you will get her coins, but we'll see that. Maybe this Christmas, hopefully, they give us Nightingale and other units coins. We'll see. Now her NP. Assault Medicine, Full Burst, Party Angel Cries, Demon Disappears in the Shadow. I am not sure which part is name and which is not, so there you have the whole thing. It's an AoE quick NP that removes enemies' offensive buffs, nice, and their ailment debuffs, which doesn't really matter since you won't ever use her in a team where those matter. It also reduces their defense by 10%, which is also pretty nice. Now onto her number one thing about her kit that pisses me off the most. This NP has 6 hits, which would be fine if she had more NP gain, but she doesn't, so it's basically impossible for her to scad it return except with MLB K-Scope, High Overkill, and then Waver or Rhinus, post buff Rhinus. So yeah, that really sucks, makes me want to cry. Still, if you use something like Arash to clear first wave and then she only has to clear 2 waves, she's gonna serve you decently, but it's kinda sad because of what could have been. And as final thing to mention, her born CE. Merry Christmas. Very simple. Which is actually decent if you use her at support. Gives 10% quick up to whole team and 20% boost to healing received. Yeah, like we said, pretty decent. Now we have finished with wiki reading part, it's time for me to ramble. Overall, do I think Santa Nightingale is a good unit? Yes, she is. Though on two places, like I said, she makes me think that we were a step away from perfection, so as your local Nightingale fag, I'm just slightly annoyed. Does get a bit compensated by her final ascension being very mummy, but then I just think how sad it is that it isn't a costume, so let's just say it half compensates it. Oh yeah, the thing I didn't touch on earlier were her skill materials. Well, here they are. You better level them all. Obviously, because she's a welfare, her ascension materials you'll just get by completing the event, and she's guaranteed IP5, which means she'll hit like a decently sized truck. Now, in what sorts of teams would she be running? Well, let's get obvious out of the way. If you're using her as the main DPS, probably with double scally. If not, then you'd be using some other unit as main DPS and use Santa Nightingale to boost them and do a bit of damage yourself, slash make stars, slash add survival to the team, slash provide her utility with debuff and buff removal. She's definitely a real Swiss Army knife, and she's actually a pretty decent one at that. Is there anything else I had to say? Yeah, not really. So I guess that's it. Ciao.